Okay, hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. We're just waiting for a few more people to come through and then we'll kick off in just a few moments. Okay, we've got a few people here, so we may as well kick off. So first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We're absolutely thrilled to be here alongside our friends at Spaceflow and to take you through a lot more information on Utopi's resident engagement offering, which is of course powered by the brilliant team at Spaceflow. We've got some great speakers lined up today. We've got Jonathan Burridge, CEO and one of our co-founders here at Utopi. We've got Falk, our CTO, and also one of our co-founders at Utopi. And we've got Lucas, the CEO at Spaceflow. Jonathan will be kicking off in terms of our speakers today. But before we hand over to Jonathan, I'd like to introduce Liz, who's the marketing manager at Spaceflow, and she will take us through some housekeeping notes and what to expect from today's session.
Thanks so much, Chanel. And hello, everyone. It's great to have you here today. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started with some housekeeping, of course. The agenda, Jonathan is going to take us through the Utopi journey so far, how exactly we've brought this partnership to life as a product and why. Falk will be taking over. At that point, Lucas is going to jump in with an intro to the Spaceflow platform and then demo the completed first phase of the Utopi Spaceflow integration. Then we will be wrapping up by discussing the full roadmap and what you can expect in the next coming months. If you have any questions throughout, please add them in the chat here. We'll have a Q&A at the very end. Any questions we don't have time for, we'll simply answer by email when we send you the event recording. Now over to Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. Thanks, Chanel. And yeah, just to echo Chanel's sentiment, we're absolutely delighted to be launching today the collaboration and partnership that we've put in place with our colleagues and good friends now at Spaceflow. So really pleased to be able to continue our journey in helping the UK and Ireland and the wider residential markets across Europe with a new product that's really going to enhance the way in which we help you and your partners deliver value from the Utopi product. So the journey we've been on to date, most people I'd like to think on the call will know something about Utopi, but we have a pretty straightforward proposition that's designed around three levers, the impact toolkit as we describe it. So ESG reporting, energy control, and resident engagement. Today, we're going to be focused on resident engagement, which is one of those levers that, when pulled, we believe is going to help drive further efficiency into the assets that we serve. And we've been on a journey for some time now. So if I look back at our very early stage of developing product market fit for you, our clients in this space, we discovered in the end of 2021 and that heating season into 22 that one of the big variables around energy consumption in student accommodation and residential accommodation more generally is the people. It's the people that live in the spaces and how they interface with the technologies that are available to them. And with that, we were able to then develop the product that we have today. So, very early on in our journey, we recognized that if we could engage with residents and students in a really meaningful, data-driven way and have good reach, we would be able to help drive further efficiency, helping, proving that, again, that people and planet can be put first and create profit for the investment funds and partners that we work with. So the journey we've been on very early on, we actually built an API which effectively exposed the data that we have within our environment and made it available for other resident engagement tools. And after a couple of early trials around that, we could see that there was some need in the market. So that was probably in 22, 23, around that time. And that's where the sort of integration journey developed from for us. What we recognized fairly early on in that exploration, if you like, was that not every scheme has a resident engagement tool or a digital community app. So we decided that we would build our own. So throughout the course of late 23 into 24, we spent a significant amount of time, working with our partners and clients, building our own resident engagement app, which is really a gamification tool. We launched the app at the end of last summer. So that was at the kind of September point in 2024. So we launched the app into about 3,000 student accommodation rooms across the UK. And we had really good feedback on the app itself and the capabilities that we were bringing to bear. However, the reach wasn't quite where we needed it to be. So we were achieving around about 25% penetration, which just simply wasn't enough to really move the needle around the gamification program. And it was just around about that time that we met Spaceflow and our colleagues at Spaceflow. So I met Lucas and the team. We got to know each other. There was a really strong cultural fit between the two businesses, and we're really passionate about that. And we could see that their product, market-leading, award-winning product, would be a really great way to enhance this resident experience and the journey that we were on. So yeah, with some goodwill on both sides, we put together this joint venture. The integration's now in flight and in place, and we'll have a commercial arrangement. And really, the objective here is to make this gamification capability available to our clients, the market, you, our clients, in a way that is seamless, integrated, and friction-free. So we want to try and make life easier for you to consume products like ours. So the communication between our two businesses and ultimately the commercial arrangement that we have in place means that we can bring to bear the Spaceflow product as part of our overarching Utopi product suite. So hopefully making that really easy for you to adopt at scale. So we can move on to the next slide, please. And in terms of why we've made this decision and why we think this is a really compelling reason, not just to buy Utopi as a product, but also to onboard this sort of broader feature set, we've made it as simple as possible. So one engagement with one sales function supported by our partners at Spaceflow and giving you access to a fully integrated resident engagement tool as part of the ESG capabilities that Utopi has already brought to the market. So make it really simple to buy, make it seamless, make it integrated. That was really the kind of main thesis behind this, and that's why we've driven in this direction. And with all of that, we can create cost efficiency as well, which I think is really important when we start to look at the prop tech stack. So when we're operating assets of this type, it's quite easy to have multiple prop tech subscriptions, if you like, and before you know it, that can have a fairly significant impact on the P&L. So what we've done is we've combined the subscription component within our two capabilities to create a much more cost-effective package, which is attached to an ROI, which is really important because obviously we appreciate that investment in this space is really driven by ROI and strategic value. And ultimately, we know from the experience that we do have, which is pretty extensive considering a 2 or 3 year journey, we do know that data-driven engagement campaigns drive value, and they drive value for not just the operational budgets for these assets, but also for the communities and for the individuals. So we're helping educate young people through these gamification programs in how they can be more efficient and more sustainable in the way that they live. And that's taken from your assets into their living environments in the future, and hopefully that's going to have a much broader impact on the planet as well. So yeah, that's where we're coming at this from. It's simple to consume, it's integrated, it comes through one engagement, it's cost effective and ROI driven, so easy to create business cases that really stand up to the scrutiny of those asset managers out there who will put us under a bit of pressure. And also we're doing greater good using data, and I think that's such an important feature here. So that's why we're here today. I'm going to hand over to my colleagues. They can describe in a bit more detail what we're actually doing, but that's why, and that's hopefully the value that we're bringing to you, our customer.
That's great. Thanks, Jonathan. So giving data to the residents and put it in the hands of the residents actually has the potential to have significant impact for you as owners and operators of these types of assets, by being able to see the impact that somebody has on emissions, for example, and on the environment, and being able to see and compare how choices made when it comes to heating affect the overall well-being and the comfort within the space that they live in. Those kinds of things will actually help boost energy savings on the one hand, and then in turn reduce costs and carbon emissions. And it's always important to see that those two things, the costs and the carbon emissions, generally go hand in hand, because the greenest unit of energy is the one that you don't consume. By having and giving residents access to that data, it also can help increase operational efficiency. How does it do that? It allows residents to see and to validate that the heating system, for example, in their building works the way that it's supposed to. And while they may perceive or feel perhaps a little bit colder on occasion, that actually there is an objective temperature measure that is presented to them and that shows them, what the actual temperature in their room or their space is. Those things in turn drive the net operating income. And they can also be integrated with existing workflows, where especially through the engagement also with Spaceflow and the tools that Spaceflow will show and Lucas will demonstrate later on, that you'll be able to see, that the data that is given into the hands of the residents can actually inform the workflows also and the processes that are there. And in turn, that can lead to increases in resident satisfaction by residents being able to see and also to be able to control the environment that they live in. And working with Spaceflow, it gives us the opportunity to have this single resident experience, the connected experience with Spaceflow and some of the capabilities that you will see very shortly. If we just step back, Jonathan mentioned that we did some work on our own gamification, as can be seen on the next slide. We tried out and we used gamification quite significantly across a large estate. The main challenge that we saw with that was take-up, and the engagement with Spaceflow and working with Spaceflow gives us the opportunity to, on the one hand, benefit from the increased take-up that Spaceflow generally has in its deployments, and at the same time by us adding extra value and extra capability to the Spaceflow app, providing yet another reason for residents to actually go and use that. So work that we've done, for example, on challenges, where in some campaigns people were encouraged to make sure that their average temperature within a space during the heating season wouldn't exceed 21 degrees, for example. And every day that they achieved that, effectively they would get another ticket, so to speak, to the lottery for a prize at the end of it. The feedback on those kinds of things has been extremely positive, and we've worked with operators in particular and with residents, and we've directly and face-to-face been involved with residents also, and we've learned through that process, and all that work will directly impact and influence how gamification is going to be implemented as part of the work that we're doing with Spaceflow. And in order to do those kinds of things, as you can see on the next slide, you will get data being presented that we gather through the Utopi platform, through the multi-sensor and the environmental data like temperature and air quality and humidity and noise levels and so on, and also information that is gathered through energy consumption. And, again, that residents can make choices with their eyes wide open and become aware of these things. And in the student market in particular, being able to see and quantify, energy consumption is actually really important, because most students, by the time or when they enter student accommodation, will not have had, they will never have had to have paid an energy bill, for example, and they may not be aware at all of the environmental impact, that their levels of consumption may have. And then being able to see it historically and in real time, provides that capability for students on the one hand, and also residents in other areas to make informed decisions and really feel empowered as part of that process, also through the data that is available to them. I'll now hand over to the Spaceflow team to have a look at what this actually will look like in real life.
Perfect. Thank you, Falk. And yeah, super fun to be here with our friends at Utopi. We are really excited about this partnership. So at Spaceflow, we, from the very beginning, since we established our company and started building the platform, we were focused on connecting the entire tenant life cycle and the journey in one interface that is super user friendly, seamless to use, and we can actually translate all those valuable data and metrics that we collect from all those data points into an environment that is very easy to use for residents, for students on a daily basis, and therefore significantly elevates the comfort, the satisfaction, and the overall well-being students get as part of being in the community and being connected with the brands that property owners and operators are powering. So very broad ecosystem of functionalities that we are bringing to the market, and how we support operators and end users in connecting with the communities and the built environment. And specifically, our partnership with Utopi is really exciting from the perspective of empowering end users with those data points that we will show you as part of the demo. And we believe that this is something that will make people even more committed to the sustainable goals and make them on the same boat with landlords, and overall increase the comfort and again the well-being and the satisfaction that is critical to also retain customers and make sure that the returns are as high as possible for our clients. So that's Spaceflow in a nutshell from the broad perspective of the platform. The key component is obviously the mobile app that has been already introduced by Jonathan and Falk, and that's where we make a difference connected to the Utopi platform. So think of Utopi as the ultimate source for all those data points, and Spaceflow as a way to gateway to translate all these data, and there's a lot of data points, into a most human way and user-friendly way for people to understand and make a difference, because that's also where we try to build the gamification programs, and we will show you, which takes it a little bit further and beyond. And that's we were particularly excited to partner with our partners and real estate companies to deliver those programs. So zooming into the actual integration that is part of today's webinar, we also, based on the reports we've seen, we see that there is strong demand from the end users to be part of this journey together with landlords. And again, connected to what I already said, we believe that we have the right tools together with our friends at Utopi to empower students and residents with all these data. So these are just some numbers that highlight the need for having those technologies and having these sort of platforms that makes those data easy to understand, accessible, and we can give also students a bit more responsibility to make difference. So again, this is something that what we strive together to put customers and so the end users and landlords on the same boat in terms of the environmental objectives, and use the right tools, use technologies, and use this partnership to achieve those outcomes. Now, showing you a sneak peek of the demo. That's, I believe, why everyone is here and why everyone is joining this webinar. So we will not go obviously through the entire platform because there would be so much to show you, but we really want to zoom in into the use cases that make a difference by partnership of Spaceflow and Utopi. So we have selected those that currently are live. So this is already developed and this is ready on the market. So potentially all partners and prospects can already opt in for this functionality. So what I would like to show you today, you can see on the slide, is the mobile app that students and residents can download. And as part of the app, they get access to the whole community services, amenities, smart building features that include also, for example, stuff like digital access to the building, or parcel management, or all type of documents and video manuals to onboard residents and students during their journey. And it starts even before they move in, which is something we already discussed also with Jonathan. We believe that this is also something that makes a strong impact because the app already supports the pre-moving phase. So whenever you have a new student sign up through your portal, you already invite them to the app and you can start to communicate with them. So you can start to offer them additional services, utilities, furniture. So this engagement part starts very, very early, even before those students actually move in, and you can smoothly onboard. Now to the integration. So two key use cases we want to show you today is the utility consumption, where you can easily access data on the water, electricity, and heating consumption. So if I click to, for example, water, I see the development and all the metrics for my last 30 days. If I want to see different granularity, I can switch to last 24 hours and even past months. So then I can pretty easily access an overview of my consumption per specific month. And the funny part, that's also where we can educate and gamify end users with tips and tricks and activities how to improve the water consumption. So there are also guidelines with every project that we do that helps to educate end users to make impact or make difference or be in charge of the consumptions. So in the same way it works for electricity. Again, we collect all those data points from Utopi, translate them in this sleek, user-friendly environment, and make all those data points available for students. And the last is heating, where you can also see your overview for heating, and again, tips and tricks for improving the consumption. So super simple but effective, and immediately you get overview of where you stand in terms of your unit. You also get notifications and a summary per each unit every time frame as we define. So you also being notified on those updates via the push notifications that you have switched on in your phone. And the second use case is for indoor climate, where again, thanks to our friends at Utopi, we can access those super interesting data per specific units and rooms. So, for example, for my room where I stay, I can see all those detailed granular data for my comfort and well-being, such as temperature, humidity, like noise levels, and again, to make it human and translate it in user-friendly way, we also came up with the Utopi team with comfort scores that in very quick way gives you hints on what comfort a specific room and unit has. So if the air quality is bad, you immediately impacts also the comfort score, and you know that there needs to something happen to improve that. So that's in short the first tier of our integration between Spaceflow and Utopi that is currently live and available. And we have much more in store. And that's something we would like to also discuss together with Falk to give you a sneak peek into what's next. So what we've looked into, that was the utilities and indoor climate insights. And coming up, we have two more enhancements and functionalities that we are currently working on. And the first one is called Smart Room Controls, where we will go a little bit beyond. So on top of just showing those data to students, we will give them the opportunity to also control temperature by adjusting the thermostat, schedule heating, so they can themselves also be in charge and use the app to adjust whatever is needed, and again help to optimize the energy use and reduce costs for specific property. So that's what's coming. Falk, do you want to add anything in here? Something to add to this use case?
Yeah, thanks. Just one thing to be absolutely clear with all of this is that in order to get the data and then also, to do the in-room controls and so on, there's clearly hardware needed that is there to either get the measurements on the one hand or to exert control over existing systems or have smart systems in place. And that's the bit that Utopi deals with as well, is to make sure that either information is gathered from existing devices where possible, or that the appropriate level of control is exerted over the existing systems, and that all that is available through the Utopi platform as it is at the moment, so on the Utopi portal, and that the user interface is the thing that Spaceflow brings into the hands of the users on their smartphones. Really, I think it's important just to highlight that as a point, as a differentiator.
Thanks, Falk. And the second, we already discussed, and also at the Utopi team, they already have an experience with gamification for consumption. So we want to take it to the next level with our partnership. And by the fall, we also want to make this available for our clients to be able to set up specific challenges and offer prizes via the app to incentivize, motivates end users to step up and be part of this sustainability initiatives. We also have things we call a leaderboard that compares you with other units in the property, and based on the consumption, you also collect points that you can then convert in specific services and amenity programs that are being offered to you. And that's something we are really, really excited to work on, and with the knowledge of a Utopi team, and again, make it part of the one interface, one app that is connected to all the other use cases that we provide, and make it easy for students to access everything from a single portal, a single app. So that's both of these adjustments will be available in Q4, and obviously when it does, we will also publish an article and the detailed product functionality for a link to this that we can also send you to access it and to get the demo from us for also those two enhancements. And with that, I believe that was our last slide. We have prepared a Q&A session. So back to you, Liz, to see if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Lucas. Sorry, we've got an issue with sound in our room. Hopefully you can hear me now. We have had one question come through. So Lucas, it said on your first slide, it had the wording meet digital expectations. So in a list of requirements, is this more or less important to app users compared to content?
The meet digital expectation is connected to sort of student being, today's generation of students being completely tech savvy and expecting from their property to also communicating towards them in the same way. So basically having everything accessible, the communication with the concierge and with the property management, with the community, being able to report an issue again on a few clicks. So that's what we mean by meeting the digital expectations, because we believe that every building should have those type of technologies to take it sort of from the offline world only to online interaction and engagement.
Great. Thank you, Lucas. That makes sense. Another question, and any of our speakers today, so Jonathan, Falk, or Lucas, feel free to jump in on these. Next one is Utopi and Spaceflow's JV exclusive? And it says, or can both parties with others? I'm assuming that means work with others as well.
Excuse me, I'm happy to take that one. Thank you, Chanel, and thanks for the question. Yeah, so the partnership is not exclusive. Both parties can work independently with clients and other third parties. So, what we're trying to do here is make a commercial arrangement between two organizations fit the market. So ultimately, we need to make sure that you as our customers have ultimate flexibility and make it as simple as possible. So this is not about closing out the market to others. It's about making it easier for our clients to buy the product. So no, the partnership isn't exclusive. I can also, as part of that question, pick up the second part of the same question, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, in terms of buying the solution independently, absolutely. If somebody wants to buy just the Utopi standalone product, that's absolutely available, as it always has been, as is the Spaceflow product, that's also available. And we're happy with our customers to make their own buying decisions around what the right commercial arrangement for them is. Like I said, it's really about trying to make this as seamless and easy as possible, and certainly not to put obstacles in the way. So yeah, we are both open protocol, both focused on being part of a prop tech stack, and are happy to integrate with others, and also happy for you to buy independently. However, as we described in the outset, in the introduction, sorry, the reason we've designed this partnership is to make this accessible and easy to consume for the operational teams, attached to an ROI with a commercial benefit. So that's why we've done this, but ultimately we're not trying to make life more difficult for what is already a busy group of people.
Perhaps there's a second thing just to be aware of, and this is one of the reasons why I personally am really excited about working with Spaceflow, and that is that both Utopi's and Spaceflow's capabilities continue to evolve over time and change. And one of the things that I'm really happy about is Spaceflow's commitment also to work with us on the roadmap and the enhancement of the capabilities over time. And any customers will benefit from that, as a matter of course, as these capabilities increase.
Maybe I would just add to what Jonathan already mentioned, but the joint bundle makes a big difference also from the commercial perspective, because we believe that what our customers can get by getting the joint bundle, Spaceflow and Utopi, is a significantly better price tag by what you get both platforms together, as opposed to buying obviously those two platforms individually on the market. So that's another strong benefit for our partners on the market.
Great. Thank you, team. Falk, we've got one that's dedicated to you. You've been called out by a fan. The question is, if we have Utopi smart panel heaters installed, will residents be able to see the kilowatt hour usage of their individual heater in the Spaceflow app?
That's a very good question, and I'm being put on the spot here because typically the energy consumption is for whole space rather than just for the heater, but we will take that on board as a suggestion, as being able to to get more specific data for a specific space.
Great. Next question in the chat. And again, any one of our speakers can answer this one. What integration support is available from Utopi and Spaceflow?
Okay, I'll pick it up. So, if our client procures both services through a Utopi contract, by default it will be integrated. It's part of the onboarding process, the full integration that's agreed during the specification phase of that exercise, that commercial exercise. That will be scoped out, agreed, and it'll be part of the delivery, the primary delivery, and then the ongoing support of that will be within the domain of Utopi and Spaceflow. So from a customer perspective, consuming this joint proposition will be seamless, and the integration will happen behind the scenes as part of one of the commercial service level agreements that we put in place. So that's how we'll deal with customers that consume both products. And then of course there'll be existing Spaceflow customers and existing Utopi customers, and we want to help both of those groups of customers on the journey to this fully integrated solution. So please engage with our team. We'll be able to look at the specific scope for your circumstances, and we'll be able to provide an accurate and specific answer. It's not our intention to charge for integration services. We're working in this collaborative way so that we do it once strategically and then maintain it as an ongoing feature in both of our technology platforms. So yeah, but like I said, we would reserve the right to have a conversation at least about those domains that we're not completely clear on what they currently look like today.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan.
Perhaps just to add to that, that is very much regarding the integration between Spaceflow and Utopi. When it comes to data acquisition, for example, at our end, if it is acquiring metadata, for example, from a BMS or a data logger or something like that, or in turn, I'm sure Lucas will be able to touch on that, but some of the integration requirements that give customers greater access to some of the the capabilities that Spaceflow can make available, like access control systems or parcel systems or so. If there is a bespoke integration required, that is something that, in that case, Spaceflow would deal with directly, then with the client and with the third party that integration would be required with.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, next question. In the testing phases, what app or screen content or format has proved the most successful in provoking an energy saving response by users?
Okay. Given that it is the gamification aspect that we've looked at, it is clear, simple, daily metrics, that are shared on a mobile screen, in portrait format.
Yeah, and I think an incentive helps. So if we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
offer
it
a
always does.
reward, such as vouchers or discounts, or perhaps even a rebooking discount for those operators that are interested in pursuing that route. Yeah, some form of incentive, commercial incentive or financial incentive also helps.
Great. I can also add to that because in our pilot last year, we did some post surveys to try and get residents' ideas of what they were interested in. A lot of them said also it was just regular communications from one consistent place. A lot of the time, these residents don't have access to this information. So we actually had a lot of feedback, which was, please keep doing this. It was so interesting to them. So yeah, a lot of the time it's just giving them a vehicle for that information. So thank you, team. Next question, they're coming in thick and fast. Resident control of their environment through the Spaceflow app sounds like a brilliant idea, exclamation mark. Can you remind us when this will be available, please?
Yeah, so that will be, if you mean this one?
Yes.
Yes, so that's going to be available during Q4 2025.
Great. Thank you, Lucas. So is Spaceflow mainly used in student accommodation at the moment? This is a two-part question, so let's cover the first part. So is it mainly used in student accommodation at the moment?
So the main use case for Spaceflow is in the living sector, and I would say it is the build to rent primarily, with the PBSA as the second biggest sector, and then also followed by the co-living. So it's one of the key sectors that we operate as a Spaceflow, and obviously with our partners at Utopi, we want to make an even bigger impact in the PBSA sector by having this partnership together with the Utopi team, because we know that they are doing amazing work in this sector and having some really, really great partnerships already established.
Great, thank you. And this question is also for you, Lucas. What is the user base like for the Spaceflow app in terms of current number of downloads and daily usage by users?
Okay, so this is obviously specific to each project, but what we see is that since the app is sort of covering a lot of use cases that are sort of an integral and necessary for day-to-day engagement and interaction with the building, the adoption rates are really, really high, up to honestly like 100%. So all we have clients that they make the app component mandatory. So all residents are on board to that. It's connected also to the PMS system. So whenever you sign a new lease, it automatically opens you a profile in the Spaceflow app, and you can immediately start engage with the information and all functionalities. And in terms of the monthly, daily active users, like this is honestly close to 90% for a monthly active users. So we see that the app is being really engaged a lot, especially in the living sectors, because we see that the use cases also, for example, mobile access or maintenance requests or parcel delivery, are those that are driving those daily open rates, and make Spaceflow as your gateway for everything you need to solve in the building. So that's in short.
Great, thank you. And the last question, how does the Spaceflow app handle user consent for personal data?
Great question. So we have sort of like a terms of use and privacy policy that is being ongoingly updated, always with the latest regulations, so GDPR. So every user, by signing up to the platform, they need to agree with those terms and this privacy policy.
Great.
And maybe also connected to that, also I would say that all those data that you will also see in the app, and for example, comparing yourself on the leaderboard with other units, are being anonymized. So you don't see who's the other unit. It is always being developed in, you know, being as cautious for everyone's privacy.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you, Lucas. Okay, fab. Well, that seems to be the end of our questions for now, but just to reiterate what Liz said earlier on the webinar, we will be emailing the recording to everybody on the call. Please feel free to reach out to our team or the Spaceflow team if you've got any follow-up questions, or if anything kind of, you know, comes up in the next few days. Please feel free to share the recording with any colleagues, friends and family. Share it as far and wide as you'd like. But yeah, thank you to everybody for being on this call. Thank you so much to our speakers, Falk, Jonathan and Lucas. It's been great hearing from each of you about the app. And from me and my team, we're just really looking forward to seeing, you know, how this app comes alive. So again, please send an email to hello@Spaceflow if you've got any questions for them, hello@Utopi for ours. And thank you all. We hope to see you on the next webinar.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.